Chag Sameach, Chag Sameach.
Yeah.
Well, we come to Sukkot this year, and it is, as I've been saying all throughout the holidays, just a difficult, different time for the holidays. And of course, we have the situation in Israel, the ongoing war, and rockets falling in Israel, and in Israel, people are very much muted because of what's happening, and of course, also our holidays this year, just because they're late, happen to fall, in the middle of October 7th, and we've got Simchat Torah in the Hebrew calendar is the Hebrew is the commemoration. So it's not an easy time. And in some ways, life feels a little bit like the sukkah, a fragile place, a temporary place, a place where the walls are not quite walls and the roof is not quite a roof, and the whole thing feels a little rickety. Um, and yet, the Sukkot is also meant to be the time of our joy. That's what we say in all our Amidah, that's what we say in all the prayers and the Kiddush the Cantor just said, Zman Simchateinu, the time of our joy, a time of gathering and a time of trying to find a little bit of just the joy of a Chag. And Sukkot is the original Chag, it's the first real holiday of our tradition. And even Pesach is Pesach, but it's not called a Chag the way a Chag, meaning a holiday, is what Sukkot is called. And the joy of Sukkot was so great in ancient times. There's all these descriptions in the Talmud of what Jerusalem was like in the time of the holiday, and the great pilgrimage, everybody going up there, climbing up towards Jerusalem and the temple on the holiday. I mean, they all came to a climax in the festival of Simchat Beit HaShoeva. So most of the years in the temple, it was different kinds of offerings that were placed on the altar. But once a year on Sukkot, it was water that they poured on the altar. And there's just this outpouring of water. Um, there's this beautiful description in the Talmud. I'll just read you a little bit of it. It begins by saying, "He that has never seen the Simchat Beit HaShova, the joy of the water drawing," is the name of this holiday that was in the middle of Sukkot, has never in his life seen joy. So at the close of the first festival day, so that would be in a few days from now, or a day from now, because it was only one day then, they went down to the court in Israel, of course. They went down to the court of the women and made great preparations there. And so just as the first day was done, they would go out and they would start to make preparations in the part of in the greater court of the temple, and they'd have all these candlesticks everywhere. The candlesticks were 50 cubits high. A cubit is a decent measurement. Four ladders led up to each candlestick, and four youths from the priestly stock went up holding in their hands jars of oil of 24 logs capacity, which they poured into the bowls. So everywhere there was this light. You can imagine this also fall time there, just like here, and beautiful lights all around the courtyard of the temple, and they made wicks out of them. And then they say, there was not a courtyard in Jerusalem that did not reflect the light of the Beit Shoeva. So all the light coming from the temple was so strong that all the courtyards in Jerusalem reflected that light. And this is, I'm quoting it verbatim, "Men of piety and good deeds used to dance before them with burning torches in their hands, singing songs and praises." So there's all these, normally, I imagine, dour men of piety and good deeds, suddenly dancing with torches and juggling with torches, and countless Levites playing on harps, lyres, cymbals, and trumpets, and other instruments of music on the 15 steps leading from the court of the Israelites, court of women. Two priests stood at the upper gate, and then you'd have two people with two trumpets in hand that would sound a whole bunch of blasts on the trumpets and on the shofar, and it's just this incredible time of this outpouring of joy. Um, and of course, it was a harvest season, so the sense of plenty and of harvest, but also we've come to understand it as a time of spiritual harvest and spiritual bounty, and that the joy of Sukkot is a special kind of joy. It's not the joy of Purim. The joy of Purim is a joy that we create. Purim, our other great joyous holiday, by wearing masks, by being silly, by acting as if the world is upside down, with drink also. But at Sukkot, Sukkot is just a time when it's all the joy, all that time we spent in synagogue together in our prayer books, thinking and reflecting and chanting, and all of that builds inside of us, and it all comes out in this holiday. There's beautiful teaching that whatever sukkah you are in, you breathe some of the air of Jerusalem. So even if you don't have a sukkah, you can come to sukkah at our synagogue and breathe some of that air. So it is a heavy holidays this year with Israel still at war. We still have that joy with us, the joy of everything we experienced just a few days ago. It seems like weeks ago now, but just a few days ago in synagogue on Yom Kippur and before the Rosh Hashanah. And so may we all experience some of that joy, a joy that transcends everything here, because in the end, all of life is really a sukkah. And perhaps all we have is that joy that's within our own being. Chag Sameach.